Hello everyone, and welcome to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield. I'm very excited to be here with you today to talk about market predictions. And being the finest women in real estate, I have some of the finest in real estate with us today. To my right, I have Melissa Tucci. She is a real estate broker in the Southern California, San Diego market. Welcome, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you.
And next to Melissa, I have Michelle Limon, who is a mortgage broker in Southern California, or do you cover national as well?
South Bay, all of San Diego, all of the state of California.
Wonderful. Welcome to the show. And to Michelle's right, I have Ryan Lipsey, who is a Senior Account Manager and VP of Ticor Title.
Yeah.
Glad
to be with you. Thank you.
So I would love to get some input from you three amazing people. You're here because you have so much experience in your select industries, and obviously this all has to do with real estate. So I'd love to learn a little bit more from each of you about sources of market predictions and how you handle sources and how you know if it's really an accurate source or not. So Melissa, would you help us with that?
Sure. So I rely on a lot of data that I receive from economists, not just the Union Tribune, but actually the markets, the stock markets, the developers, the city of San Diego, and basically being just so involved in real estate on a day-to-day basis, I could feel when the market shifts and I could feel when buyers hold back and sellers, change their perspective. So I really rely on not only statistics, but actually the everyday, day-to-day, to kind of see how the market plays out, and that's helped me throughout my real estate career.
Do you ever notice that when you have predictions in some of the sources that you're utilizing and then what you're actually experiencing, do you ever find that you don't necessarily agree with what they're saying?
Sometimes, but I really just take things with a grain of salt and never try to put all my eggs in one basket. I always joke with clients and just say, if I had a crystal ball, it would be this, this, and this. But I really do think that some of the predictions sometimes are just so far off that I like to just keep it a little bit more general. So that way, you give people also hope. You don't want to have people's, dreams crash down that, the sky's falling.
Absolutely.
And we still do live in one of the most desirable places in the world. So regardless if there's market changes, I truly believe it'll always bounce back because people want to live and be here.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So take what you want, leave the rest, but always have the positivity in mind. And yes, we live in paradise.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Wonderful.
Sure.
Well, Michelle, I'd love to know what sources you use. Maybe some are the same, and how that kind of affects you and how you go about your business.
Well, we do a lot of lending, so a lot of what I do revolves around interest rates, so it kind of is indicative of how the stock market's doing, what's going on in the global economy, what's going on around the world, kind of determines how those rates are going to go and whether people are going to buy now, wait a little bit, hold off, refinance, invest or not invest. So I watch the stock market every day to figure out if it's going to be a good day to lock or not lock for my clients. But as far as purchasing and refinancing and growing equity, it's better to invest today than it was 10 years ago, and it's always going to be like that. Interest rates have taken a dip right now, so people are jumping on the ship and kind of figuring out, let's hurry up and buy or let's hurry up and refinance. It's almost like interest rates are on sale right now.
Yeah.
So when that happens, I quickly call the clients, call my agents, and say, hey, what can we lock in? What can we do to get these guys a good deal?
And so, Michelle, do you notice that, obviously I would think, people are jumping in because the interest rates are on sale right now. Do you notice those big shifts that happen?
We do. When the market starts dipping every day or going up or down, that's my job in order to help educate my clients on whether we should float or not or lock. And quite like what Melissa said, it's almost like having a crystal ball. If I had a crystal ball and I could predict on when's the best day to lock rates, it'd be considered insider trading. And I wish that I had that ability, but I don't. So all I can do is say, past performance is indicative of the future. So we can only look at the trends. We can only look at what interest rates have done, where we're at now, and what we predict is going to happen in the future.
Awesome, Michelle. Well, I'm enlightened. I love it. Thank you so much. And Ryan, I'd love to know what sources you use in your industry and the title industry and how that affects your business.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a rhythm to our business. I think it's important to have a grasp of the macroeconomic situation and world news and things like that. But I'm closer to Melissa, where I work with hundreds of agents and dozens of brokerages in the luxury market. in conforming and in entry-level single-family and attached, all kinds of housing. So when things are converting quickly into escrow, you feel it, right? When you put a listing on the market and you have 10, 12 offers right away, you feel that. When you have 65 days on the market and you thought it was well priced, you feel that too. So I let the, your finger being on the pulse of what the market's doing, let that dictate kind of what your market knowledge is and what you predict into the future. I think that buyers are a premium at the moment, because inventory's up 45 to 50% in San Diego County. And it used to be that it was 10 buyers for every listing, right, Melissa? And now it's like 10 listings for every buyer. And we're coming out of the holiday season, which I think there's a seasonality to it as well.
So Melissa, I'd love to know how you manage your business.
Sure. So I'm a workaholic, more so than I think a lot of other agents. There's over 20,000 agents in San Diego County, and I typically do about 150 transactions a year, so I keep pretty busy. I work with both buyers and sellers. I'm also the official agent for the San Diego Padres. So for me, if the market shifts, I just shift with it. When there was a lot of foreclosures and short sales, I became a short sale negotiator and negotiated all my short sales. When there's auction properties, I go the courthouse steps and help clients purchase all cash auction properties. So I think the biggest thing in real estate to be successful is to really be a chameleon to the market and really be able to adjust to your audiences. And if it's more of a seller's market, adjust to that. Same thing with buyers, and just constantly work all angles and all aspects. And regardless of a down market, you could still be successful.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Melissa. And Michelle, so how do you, when the business is growing, how do you structure your business differently?
Well, I have a team that works with me, and I surround myself by successful teammates on my team. So we expand and contract depending upon how the market's going. When the market is going really good, we're obviously putting in a lot more hours, is really what we do first versus just jumping on board and hiring more people. And then sometimes when it's slow, then we can kind of feel like we're working a normal 40-hour week, which in real estate, if everybody knows, it's an 80 to 100-hour work week. But we have systems in place and people in place that work that volume as it comes in and as it picks up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to hear from Ryan and we're going to continue our discussion.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
I'm John Ruff, owner of Ruff & Ready Moving and Storage. Wherever you're moving, our team is eager to assist you with all your moving and storage needs. You can count on us to pack and handle your personal belongings with care. We also provide both temporary and long-term storage for your household or office goods. For more information or to schedule a free in-home estimate, visit us at ruffandreadymoving.com or call us today. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, call Ruff.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation about business growth and how you structure your business when there is market growth. And we left off with Ryan. And Ryan, I'd love to hear a little bit more from you about that.
Absolutely. So we scale up our business and it starts with team. I think that in this digital age, people expect instant response, if not faster, right? So I have an admin that sits at Mission Control and answers every email and coordinates my whole calendar for me. And I hired a sales professional as a junior kind of mentee situation to help me with the sales process. And we are tasked as leaders of a team with the rainmaking duties, right? So HR, outreach, selling, networking events and leverage events and selling. That's what my specialty is. That's my highest and best use on my team. So we basically staff up accordingly and contract staff-wise accordingly, based on what's dictated by the market at the time. So I think that things like CRM, virtual assistants, other efficiencies in your business are strategic things you can look to before hiring, but I think it comes down to warm bodies per closing. There's a certain metric involved to provide a certain level of service that we strive for.
I love that, Ryan. I love what you said, make it rain. Right?
Yeah.
Make it rain, and then have people to take care of it once it does rain.
Absolutely, catch the rain, right?
Wonderful, absolutely. So because all of you have so much success in your given industries, I would love to hear from you, Melissa, about what do you think are the top 2 or 3 things that really make you so successful as far as business operation and how you manage?
I think that in today's industry, it's the responsiveness, and people expect immediacy. So it's being responsive in whether it's via text, via phone, via email. And, because some agents don't even respond ever to a phone call, or they'll call you back 2 days later. It's amazing to me, So I really think, obviously, if you're in a meeting, you don't want to interrupt it, but always call back right away, always text right away, always respond. And the number one thing for me is be professional, look professional and be professional. Make sure that people know you're the agent, not the client. And so many times you don't know which is which. And I think people need to dress professionally, act professionally, and be that role, and have a strong work ethic. And that's really what I think, it's simple, but so many people don't do it. And once you do it, you really see a difference in your business.
Amazing. So because of the volume you do you have like those when you make it rain, when all of your being in the industry and people knowing about you, when it rains, do you have people to help you, or are you always the one who reaches right out?
I have an assistant that's been with me for about 6 years now. I don't have a big team just because I have such a strong A personality. I still want to be always the one that reaches out. So it'll maybe get there one day. I just can't let it go yet. But that's why when people are like, oh, what day do you take off? Like, I don't take off days, and real estate's not a job, it's a way of life. Yeah. But I enjoy it, and it's a big passion because it's very rewarding. When someone's like, thank you so much for all your help, that makes your whole day. And so I really think that, to be in this industry, you have to be passionate, you have to give the hours, and you don't have to have it feel like it's work, because it's kind of who you are. It's who I am.
Yeah. If it doesn't feel like work, you never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
That's what they say.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Michelle, I'd love to hear from you about, how are you so successful I mean, you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's not just work.
Nope.
It's life, it's kids,
Yep.
it's everything.
So I'm not successful by myself at all. I have a team. I have people that I rely on, and I've learned to let go of certain responsibilities so I can use the highest and best use of my time on what I do, which is really educating and advocating for my clients. Real estate is a way to make a living. It's a way to make a lot of money. People buy and sell properties and make a lot of money. And I just want to advocate for my clients and make sure that they are getting the best deal, that they're not losing out or paying for things that they shouldn't be paying for. So I do a lot of education, I do a lot of seminars, and then behind the scenes is where I have my staff that's doing a lot of the paperwork, that's making a lot of the phone calls. So I'm not successful by myself at all. I wish I could say that, but I'm not.
And I love what you said about having people do the things that you're not necessarily passionate about.
Correct.
But so you can be passionate in everything that you get to do in your interactions with your clients.
Yep.
That's wonderful.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Key, right?
Yep. Yeah. I use their brain. It's like having that little easy button.
Yeah.
And using it. 4 brains are bigger than one.
Absolutely.
So I clog up their brains and use mine for what matters.
Wonderful. Melissa, Michelle, thank you so much. Ryan, I'd love to hear from you. And what are the top 2 or 3 things that really make you shine in your industry and give you so much ability to have so much success?
Well, largely it's like Melissa said, work ethic. I have the immigrant mentality. I'm first generation born here from a Mexican family, and I never lose the fire, never lose the hunger, regardless of what threshold of success you pass through. I think that's difficult. Complacency can set in on many different levels. I think you need to remind yourself what you're passionate about and what your drive is. And absolutely, delegation. If Andrew Carnegie wasn't the best at steel, right? But he surrounded himself with the very best.
That's right.
Right? So I am not an Olympic athlete at returning emails or setting calendar appointments, but I can work at a pretty high level when engaging and nurturing and cultivating relationships with real estate professionals. So I stay in my lane, right? I think that you have to know what your highest and best use is and stay there. But delegation is key, and don't lose that fire. It's if it's something you do, then you're going to run into a ceiling. If it's who you are, then you're always going to remain passionate about it, I think.
I love what all of you have been saying, and I think the biggest thing my biggest takeaway from this conversation is keep your passion. How do you keep your fire in what you're doing and delegate the rest, right? As long as you have trusted people to delegate it to. That's super important.
To come up with. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
I'm John Ruff, owner of Ruff & Ready Moving and Storage. Wherever you're moving, our team is eager to assist you with all your moving and storage needs. You can count on us to pack and handle your personal belongings with care. We also provide both temporary and long-term storage for your household or office goods. For more information or to schedule a free in-home estimate, visit us at roughandreadymoving.com or call us today. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, call Ruff.
First time I tried Vicodin, and it was laying around my mom's house. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back to the Finest Women in Real Estate, and I am here with three of the finest in their industries. We have Ryan, Michelle, and Melissa here with us today, and I'd love to continue our conversation by really talking about 2019 market predictions. You guys know what's happening in your worlds and in the world around us, so I'd love to hear first from you, Ryan.
Well, from a title perspective, we worked with a broad base of agents. I think in the first part of the year, at a minimum, the buyer is going to be at a premium and have a leg to stand on, which is healthy for our market. I mean, it's been a seller-driven market for so long. I think that it'll bounce back around mid-year and be healthy and robust again, rounding the corner into 2020.
So we're moving into then a buyer's market, is what you...
I have that sentiment.
Yeah.
I'll allow the lending and real estate professional also to comment on that, but that's what I've seen thus far, and certainly closing out 2018.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Great. And how about you, Michelle? What are you thinking?
Well, since I work a lot more with the interest rates, it kind of determines how the market's doing in regards to people not necessarily purchasing, but also refinancing. So as Ryan says, when the market grows, people are not only purchasing, but when the interest rates go down, then I have an influx of people doing a refinance as well. So I kind of get hit on both sides of it, which is great because we just have to be flexible with that. And we want to get the word out and let everybody know, hey, interest rates are on sale. Now's the time if you think that you missed the boat before, or they purchased a home 6 months ago and they've got this equity in there and the interest rates are down, for them to get into a more stable long-term financing. But I definitely think 2019 is going to be a great year. There's still an increase in equity, so it's always a great time to buy, and you just can't go wrong in San Diego.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited for 2019. Melissa, from your perspective, real estate perspective.
So if I had a crystal ball, I would say that the market is going to still be stable, and then in some areas maybe a decrease of 1 to 2%, just because the average market times right now are double and if not triple in some areas. So what that happens with that is some sellers panic, and then they say, oh my gosh, what's going on, and they lower the price. Or if it stays on longer, buyers think they could get a better deal because it's longer on the market. So timing is really everything, and right now the buyers still do have an overall more advantage than sellers because of that. But again, we live in San Diego. People are constantly always moving here. We have a really strong military community that's constantly moving here as well. So I think regardless, it will still be a strong year, and that it'll be stable overall.
Wonderful, amazing. So I've learned so much just from being here with these three experts in their fields, and I'm sure you guys have learned so much as well. I think one of my biggest takeaways was the passion, right? The passion and keeping that quality, like you said, Melissa, super high. And so that's why some of the things you definitely don't want to let go of. I'm sure all of you are the same in that regard. And in addition to passion, opportunity. So we're seeing 2019 as a big year of growth, but even if it's not growing in every every area of real estate, mortgage, title. It's going to be growing in certain areas. There's different niche areas, like you were saying, Melissa, that you can absolutely grow into. And I have experienced that as well with solar, me being in the solar industry. So 2019 is the last year for the 30% federal incentive. And so being able to, as you all educate on the real estate side of things, solar has a lot to do with real estate, as we all know. So being able to educate homeowners around how they can actually own, go solar in 2019, claim that 30% federal incentive without any money out of pocket to own their solar system. So it's a very exciting time. As you all know, keep your passion, know there's always opportunity, and you can have all the success that all three of these amazing people are also having. So stay tuned for the next episode of Finest Women in Real Estate. Remember, you can watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at EAN TV.